Hey guys, another video from me. I went to two places this weekend. Went to a car boot sale on Saturday, and on the bank holiday Monday I went to the Malvern Flea Market. Now let's have a look and we'll see what I got. So the car boot sale was kind of quiet. It was still pretty big. During the bank holiday Monday weekend it's usually pretty crazy, but unfortunately because of COVID it was still pretty quiet. There was a few good stalls, but most of it was resellers, and even then the resellers didn't have that good stuff out. But at one store I found these three models and I got the whole lot for £11. Now I looked on eBay and these two model kits go for between £15 each. I think one of them goes, I think this one here goes for about 20. So you're looking at maybe on a good day about £35 worth of stuff there. Unfortunately this model isn't complete, it's just scrap, just pretty much a box. So I'm going to try and sell this as a group and I'll throw that model in. And on the same store, my find of the day was this awesome Star Wars jigsaw puzzle found by my partner. She spotted it and was just like, look, Star Wars. And what's crazy is this puzzle is one that I've been after for a long time. It shows the actual original vintage action figures on the front of the box and on the puzzle. And because of this, it's pretty desirable. I've completed it. It's all there. It doesn't have any posts or anything, which I'm not sure it came with. These can sell for a lot of money. These can sell for up to £50. So this was a great buy. It's £3. And what's funny was on the same stall, she had some Thundercats figures. It was Lino and one of the vehicles, and she wanted £30 for it. It was incomplete, rough, definitely not worth it. Came across this really cool Bertie Bassett display sign thing. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of fake modern thing, but it's got quite a good feel to it. So that feels like it's really well made. I tried to do a bit of research on it, but can't find anything. I think it's either one of those things that somebody might have made themselves, or it could be like a promotional thing, free in packets of licorice. Who knows? Got this David Attenborough audio book collection. David Attenborough always sells. If you're after trying to buy stuff to resell, David Attenborough is always really good, but there is a lot of it out on the market. This is a complete 10 CD set of his early years collection. I think I paid £2 for this. Not the best sell in the world. They go for about £10 second hand. And I always pick up Harry Potter books when I can. This was 20p. Okay, on to what I found at Malvern. So at Malvern I found 5 bags of vintage action figures, which I will show to you in the next clip. I've recorded a video of that last night. But I also found this. This is the Crash Test Dummies electronic pinball. I cannot find anything of this on eBay. I typed in different sort of pinballs, bagatelles, electronic, centre, everything I can find, but I couldn't find anything about it. But I don't think it's worth much. I think I'm going to try and get £15 for it. I paid £4 for it, I paid up for it, but you rarely see Crash Test Dummies at fairs or car boot sales. And then I found this. Sylvanian Families. I've never picked up any Sylvanian Families. They always sell well, people are always after them. They're a vintage line from the 80s and 90s, and then recently they've had a... kids have got back into them and people have been buying them for their children and they've been doing really well. This is one of those trays, lap trays sort of things for kids. You can get loads of these, He-Man, Ghostbusters, Transformers, that sort of thing. I paid £1 for this. It's got a bit of scratching, a bit of wear, so it's not going to be the best sell in the world. I'm going to try and maybe get £5 for this at a toy fair when they eventually open up. And then finally I found 3 of these Viewmaster sets. The third one has already sold. It sold within 24 hours. I put a picture of it up now. It's indeed the famous 5-1. And there's one for the Water Babies and one for Spider-Man. I paid £10 for all three, and so far I've sold the famous 5-1 for 12, and I'm hoping to try and get about £20 with this one and about £10 with this one. Now let's have a look at the action figures. And now when I was walking around, I had this premonition sort of thing, instinct if you call it, to go down, turn left and go to this stall. And I was right. As soon as I turned to the left, I could see there was a few toys on the floor, many die-cast cars. When you go to flea markets or antique fairs, there's always die-cast cars. Usually poor quality 80s, 90s collector's series which are worth nothing. But I felt I needed to quickly look at these bags, and when I did, I noticed they were filled with action figures. Now, usually at these sort of things, they could be quite expensive and action figures go quite quickly. So I decided to basically just ask the lady how much she wanted and kind of take whatever price she said, just as long as it was reasonable. She said she wanted £5 a bag. There was, I believe, 7 bags altogether. 2 bags were filled with Warhammer stuff, which is not my sort of thing usually, because these were all figures that are made up, all severely broken, nothing special, nothing that I could see, all plastic, no metal. So I thought I'd just buy these bags, and so I got these 5 bags for £20 altogether. She let me have 1 bag for free, and I thought, well, great thing to do, open it on camera and not have a look and see what we got. So this is all new to me. I can tell from some of the bags what some of the things are. So some of it I don't know, and some of it I do know. So let's have a look at bag number 1. So we have an Emperor's Royal Guard from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. It's in average condition, but he's missing his skirt cape. Usually comes with a staff as well. That's missing by the looks of it, unless it's in here. That's a nice little find. Finding vintage Star Wars is always good. This is your typical toy soldiers flag. I think this is very similar to the one you get in the A-Team action figure set. So I'll double check that to make sure it's not that one. Because if it is, I will sell it as that one. And then we got this pilot. This is from the Action Force line. I think it's from Series 1. Action Force is a small spin-off from Action Man. The first series were very much like Action Man. They modelled on the same sort of uniforms. Some slight variations, and they introduced the idea of a bad guy. And then eventually it all kind of merged with G.I. Joe from the States. But he's in average condition. Then we have another Action Force figure. He's got his 3 stripes on his arm on both sides. He's actually in quite nice condition. Dusty. It's always good to get Action Force. I think a lot of this stuff in here will be Action Force actually, which is good. Another one, this is in his camouflage gear. Has a backpack, which I'm not sure goes to this set. It's a white backpack, most likely with an Arctic figure. So far, 1 Star Wars toy and 3 Action Force. This guy is one of the bad guys from the A-Team set, which makes me think actually this could very much be A-Team. He's quite a generic figure. Not much love for him, unfortunately. He's not worth much. He's made by Galoob. Kind of like a really typical bad guy with an eye patch and a moustache. So this figure I'm not familiar with. It's got a gun in his hand and it's a diver with a watch as well, which is pretty cool. It has like a rubber material feel to it, which is strange because usually rubber perishes from the 60s and 70s. If anybody knows what this figure is, he's obviously got some gunk here, which will probably make him fall apart when I take it off. Is it? It's not Play School's Adventure Team, is it? Adventure People. Fisher Price Adventure People. That's what it. Fisher Price Adventure People. It might be one of those, but it feels a bit too good. It's got its gun, which is kind of, I would have thought I'd been missing. So that's always a bonus. Another action team. This one feels a bit sticky, so you'll need a clean. They all need a clean, to be honest. Here is another action figure from Action Force. Looks very much like the Action Man Arctic Assault. That backpack might go with him. It'd be good if it did. I always find Action Force, it's quite easy to find. Most car boot sells, nearly every single toy fair I go to, there's always Action Force figures for sale. The things that I find hard to find with Action Force is the vehicles and also the weapons. I find the weapons near impossible to find. This is the first time I think I've ever found a good lot of accessories, really. Then you've got another pilot of the Action Force line and a radio pack. It's very sticky. If you are new to collecting vintage action figures and vintage toys in general, you'll find that a lot of plastic will break down, and this is the result. It gets really sticky and it starts to melt. It can be cleaned and it can look nice for a couple more years, but eventually it keeps happening. This figure here is suffering from stickiness as well. Sadly, that's the way time goes. That's bag number 1. Let's have a look at bag number 2. Another Action Force chap, SAS by the looks of it. He's got a bit of rub on his decal on his side, which should say SAS in yellow. And then we have these two figures, which I'm pretty sure are also part of the bad guy set for A-Team, the small versions. With the A-Team figures, there's 2 versions of A-Team figures. There's the small versions like this, which are very much like your vintage Star Wars figures, kind of typical action figure size. And then there's the bigger figures, which are like the 6-inch figures. Then we got this chap who I do not know what he's from. Potentially something like Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons, maybe. He has 1983 on his back. LGN Toys. I imagine this is probably Dungeons and Dragons. Unfortunately, his face is a bit melted. But it's good to get an action figure from a toy line I never had before. Then probably the best toy line of all time, we have Lego. This is your typical Lego knight on a horse. The Lego knights and Lego pirates from the 80s are my favourite. A lot of people like space stuff, which I can understand. I also like the Egyptian stuff from the mid to late 90s. But the knights and the pirates are what I had as a kid. And we have another Action Force diver. We're doing pretty well for Action Force right now. It looks like it's somebody's whole collection, which is pretty good. One thing is, it is covered in dust and grime, unfortunately, which means they all need a clean, and my hands will definitely need a clean after this. Another assault type figure for the Action Force line. It's pretty like ground assault, missile assault sort of thing. With the Action Man line, they basically did a group of soldiers who were like from the future, supposed to be set in like 20 years time from when they were made, and they didn't look too dissimilar to what we got, some of the things we have now technology wise. And then we have a rubber Jerry. He's looks like a pencil topper. Now, don't be put off by these things if you find them in the wild, because you would think they'd be junk, but some of these pencil toppers are worth a lot of money and people will pay up for them. Okay, so that's it for this weekend's finds. The most amazing thing I did find was the Clash t-shirt. It's framed, it's original 1977 tour t-shirt or promotional t-shirt. I paid up for it, paid roughly about £70. it's one of those really cool things that you don't see often, and tour t-shirts can go for a hell of a lot of money. Now, I've done a bit of research, I've looked online and I can't find anything about it at all, apart from a few similar tour t-shirts that I've sold, one as high as around about £400 plus. So hopefully I might have to sell it in the future, but I'm actually thinking about keeping it for a while because it does look good on my wall. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in a future video. Happy hunting!